I got 5 player props and 3 juicy anytime touchdowns. Let's talk some football. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and we're back to talk some more NFL player props and anytime TDs for week 15. I'm feeling good about this weekend. If you're looking for my best game bets like sides, totals, all that kind of stuff, that is already out in a different video along with our best week 15 trends. Some quick reminders before we get started. I will be on the Kyle Krim Show at 11 a.m. Eastern. So if you're not a part of that channel, go check it out. Go hit subscribe. Great people over there give a lot of good info. But we're going to have a lot of fun. So come check us out, join the chat, and we'll talk football leading up to kickoff on Sunday. But also, Sunday Night Football video will be out late Saturday. That's right. We got a video for the standalone game between my Seattle Seahawks and the Green Bay Packers. So I'm excited to get going on these player props. Let's have a great week this weekend. But before we get started, got to mention any graphics you see in this video are from a video or an app called OUTLIER, the best player prop research tool on the market today. As you guys know, I use it every single day. If you want to just try it out, you got nothing to lose. Click the link below and you get a 7-day free trial. But let's get into it. And that means it's dad joke time. That's right. Here we go. Christmas edition. Why was E the only letter in the alphabet to get Christmas presents? Because the rest of the letters are not E. That's not bad. Okay, in this video, we're going to give you my 5 favorite player props for week 15, and then 3 anytime touchdown bets, and 2 of them are pretty juicy, that's for sure. And then we'll wrap it all up with the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below to help this channel continue to grow. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Come join this incredible community. And also, Discord is free if you want to come join that as well, as we are now on our way to 35,000 subscribers. Thank you guys, as always, for the support day in and day out. Let's get it rolling, and that means it's player prop time. All right, this first prop is a quarterback, and it's an under. Give me Lamar Jackson under 26.5 pass attempts at -120 on BetMGM. I'm expecting a complete blowout here. I mean, you can see the line is 16.5 against the Giants for a reason. So, with the blowout being the number one reason, if you think this game is going to stay close till the end, I will just say, this bet may not be for you, although he could still go under it. But let's just talk about it. The matchup versus the Giants defense alone. Giants have given up the ninth most rush attempts to their opponents this season. Teams know they can run the ball on this team. They've given up the 3rd most rush yards per attempt at 4.9 yards per carry. That is not good. Giving up some big games recently. 112 yards to Rico Dowdle on 22 carries. Bucky Irving, 12 carries for 87. 153 rush yards on 28 carries to Chuba Hubbard. I expect Derrick Henry to run absolutely wild on this Giants defense, and he may not even play in the fourth quarter. You never know, because this could be an absolute blowout. So here's the deal with this underpass attempts. I went back and looked at the big wins that the Ravens have had. Lamar, in the 3 games this year that they've won by 10 or more points, he is under this line in all 3 games, and not just under by quite a bit, because when they usually blow teams out, they're going to run the ball all over them and not need to pass. 19 pass attempts and a 31-point win versus Denver, 22 pass attempts and a 10-point win versus Tampa Bay, and only 18 pass attempts and a 31-point win versus Buffalo. He is averaging just under 20 pass attempts per game in a double-digit win this year, and I expect a full double-digit win. I mean, we're talking a 16.5-point spread. Again, a lot of this is based on a blowout, although he could still go under even if it's somewhat competitive, but the blowout is key here. Derrick Henry's rush line, 20.5 for a reason. Another bet I also like, you may still see me add it. I don't love to do 2 bets on the same team, but I also like Justice Hill over rush yards. I think I saw 12.5, 13.5. I mean, he could be the running back in the fourth quarter or the last at least 2 drives, and all he would need 13, 14 yards. Kind of crazy. But if it's a blowout, you might see him a little bit more. But obviously, the main part is the Ravens win easily. I think they do. That's why you see this big spread. Also, I think they could win by 20, 30 points here. But Lamar this season, averaging 29 pass attempts per game just overall. He's under this in 6 of 13. So the hit rate's not really there, but again, it's about the matchup, how you can run against this team, and we expect a blowout as well. So that's what I got for my first bet. Give me Lamar under 26.5 pass attempts, and let's move on to bet number 2. All right, the second one is a receiver prop. Give me Amon-Ra St. Brown over 66.5 receiving yards at -120 on BetMGM for 1 unit. I like this up to 69.5, 70.5, to be honest with you. This game has a total of around 54. I mean, we are going to see some fireworks here. I'm expecting a lot of points, unlike that ridiculous game between the Rams and the 49ers we just saw. But some St. Brown numbers. He's only over this in 3 of 10 games this season. So if you're a hit rate person, that's how you make bets. This is not for you. But he is still averaging right around this line, 65.6 yards per game. Now, why would they have a prop in the mid 60s for a guy who has only gone over this in 3 of 10? Well, there's a reason, because he is also very capable of having some big blow up games. We've seen it with a few over 100-yard games, but here's a wild stat for ARSB. That's what we'll call him. He's caught 91% of his targets this season. Pretty much every pass that goes to him is being caught. It's almost automatic when Goff throws it to him. He has 40% of the team's air yard share this season. Again, another huge number. Even with the lower hit rate here at this number, I still think the advanced numbers are all there. The eye test is there. This guy is a stud and has the ability to have big games. Now, the matchup. Bills 14th in yards allowed to wide receivers, so a very average matchup here, but they've really struggled versus the slot wide receiver. They're allowing over an 80% catch rate to slot wide receivers in the last month, and St. Brown is lined up in the slot almost 40% of the time this year. Between the catch rate that they're giving up to slot receivers, St. Brown with his 91% catch rate, I think we're going to get extremely high efficiency from him and some big plays. The Bills offense, obviously, we expect them to score a lot too and push this Lions offense to keep throwing the ball and keep having to score, as I don't see the Lions running away with this. We talked about this in the other video as well, but he should also get a pretty clean pocket. The Bills are not really pressuring quarterbacks that great, 22% clip, slightly below average. And there's no better quarterback with a clean pocket than Mr. Jared Goff. So I think he has a good game. Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you are looking to ladder, I'm just looking to have a great weekend in props first before we do some ladders again. But if you are looking for one, this might be an option as well. So give me St. Brown over 66.5 receiving yards as my second best bet. All right, before we get to bet number 3, we got to tell you about this promo with Bet365. New customers only. Click that link below if you want to sign up for this sportsbook. And I always recommend as many sportsbooks as you can to get the best odds. But once you do that and use that link, you deposit $10 in your account, you bet $5, win or lose, you are getting $150 in bonus bets right as that bet settles. It's an incredible deal. So if you're one of the legal states for Bet365, now is the time to take advantage of it. But of course, you must be 21 years or older to gamble. If you have a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, back to the bets. All right, this third bet is a running back. Give me Isaiah Pacheco over 13.5 rush attempts at -115 on BetMGM for 1 unit. We cashed Pacheco over rush yards last week. He's pretty much all the way back now. That's at least my opinion. He had 14 carries last week, and I expect at least that here in this game. And I think these lines are a little slow to move as he comes back. But Pacheco, since the start of last season, he was over this line in 13 of 18 games last season and 3 of 4 this year. You do the math, that's 16 of his last 22 games he has gone over this. The only under this year was because it was his first game back from injury, only had 7 carries. But again, he got 14 carries. All the reports out of Kansas City are that he is ready to go. He's fully healthy. And then whether we might have some possible big wins here, which obviously affect the pass game quite a bit, should lead to more running. I mean, running usually takes over in these December cold football games anyways. But with some injuries to these Browns defense, we've seen a lot of the teams run well and run a lot versus Cleveland lately. Jaleel McLaughlin had 14 carries for 84 rush yards. Steelers running backs, they just played them 2 of the last 3 games. They had 25 and 27 carries between the two of them in those two. And then Taysom Hill and Kamara, they combined for 23 carries for over 200 yards. I'm saying this because obviously the more effective you are running, the more chance you're going to get some more attempts. And obviously we know Pacheco can run the ball pretty well. I like I said, I just think he's going to be fully back, where 13.5 is still saying he's injured. He's still working his way back. He just had 14 and went over this last week. I don't see him all of a sudden going down. And then game script, we should see at least a competitive game. More than likely, the Chiefs probably playing from ahead. And if that's the case, obviously we'll get more carries as well with him. So I love this one. I think it's at least 1 too low. Should have started out at 14.5, maybe 15.5. So give me Pacheco over 13.5 rush attempts as my third best bet. All right, this fourth one is another quarterback prop, but it's a rushing prop. Give me Josh Allen over 37.5 rush yards at -113. It's going to be a half unit play for me here. One of the reasons is because, well, I already have a 1 unit play on this game with Amon-Ra St. Brown. And also, quarterback rushing props can be a little hit and miss sometimes, but I do really like this one. So the Lions really struggle with mobile quarterbacks. 26th in quarterback rushing yards allowed. Mobile quarterbacks versus Detroit this season, which has not been obviously a ton. Caleb Williams, 39 rush yards. Anthony Richardson, 61. Kyler Murray, 45. Now, two big reasons why this happens is because, well, they play man-to-man defense more than any other team out there. That's what you love to see. You got DBs turning their back on the quarterback and chasing their guy. You're going to see a lot of open field for these mobile quarterbacks. Also, Lions blitz at the third highest rate, 32.2%. Blitzing obviously flushes quarterbacks out of the pocket. You have more chance of a scramble, which I think Josh Allen can do here. Plus, he's been running the ball more lately. He's over this line in 3 of his last 4 games with 50, 55, 18, and 82 yards in those 4. The 18 was that snow game blowout. Again, I don't really take much into it, but in those 3 games he went over in the last 4, 8, 12, and 10 rush attempts, which is what you like to see. It's a great matchup here. Lots of points, lots of possessions in this one, a high-paced game. I think Josh Allen carries or has a few big plays that should get over this, but again, he's been running it quite a bit, so he could get this with volume or get it just on a few big chunk plays. So give me Josh Allen over 37.5 rush yards as my 4th best bet. All right, you knew we weren't going to get out of here without a kicker prop. That's right. Bet number 5 is Chris Boswell over 1.5 field goals made at -115 on BetMGM. This is a 1-unit play for me. I'm honestly surprised to see this as a playable line here. So let's dive into Outlier for this kicker prop. That's right. We have not showed you guys much Outlier for kickers. But let's just look at 2024. Now, back to you hit rate people. This is one you will like. He is over this in 10 of 13 games. He, in fact, has 3+ field goals in 6 of 13. This guy is an absolute machine. Now, let's go up to the top and check what he has done with Russell Wilson at quarterback. And that's what you love to see. And why does that matter? Obviously, you want the team to move the ball more and have more field goal chances. So, with Russell Wilson, you can see it. Not only is he over in 6 of 7 games, he has 3 or more field goals in 5 of 7. That's right, 3. We only need 2 field goals. He's averaging almost 3 field goals per game with Russell Wilson at quarterback, with them moving the ball. Now, if you look over there at the matchup, you can see Eagles 13th in field goals allowed. It's an average matchup. But honestly, the Eagles have been even better in the red zone since midseason, which is what you like to see. So where the Steelers have struggled this season, which can help actually, is the red zone. They are the 4th worst red zone offense in the NFL. Scored a touchdown in only 45.65% of red zone drives. That's why you see Boswell kicking field goal after field goal this season. It's just been a million of them. So what the ideal here is when you have over 1.5 field goals, you want the team to be able to move the ball, whether it's in the red zone, close to the red zone, and then get stopped and you kick a field goal. I know, I just talked football with you. It's pretty simple, huh? But without George Pickens, it may prevent them from finishing some of these drives as well. Not the reason I took it or anything, but overall, this has a huge hit rate with an offense that is struggling to score in the red zone, and we have seen what the Eagles defense has done lately, other than versus the Panthers last week. But Boswell is also solid, 36 for 39 in field goals this season. He hit a 57-yarder. He's got the leg for the long ones as well. I have really no reason to ride the hot foot, we'll call it, of Boswell. We have good weather in Philadelphia as well, so give me the Bos over 1.5 field goals as my 5th and final player prop. But we're not done yet. Let's get to the anytime touchdowns. All right, here we go. I got a couple juicy TD props for you. Again, like always, I'm going to have 3. I'm going to put a quarter unit each. This is not a parlay. You guys do what you want. But here we go. First one, Garrett Wilson TD at +160 on DraftKings for the New York Jets. He only has 5 touchdowns this season. That's why we're getting some good odds here. But he has now gone scoreless in 4 straight weeks. Again, if you're a hit rate guy, this isn't one of them. But the targets are still there. He has 6 red zone targets in his last 4 games, 8+ targets overall in 12 of 13 games. He's obviously very involved. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL, but the matchup is an absolute dream matchup. We talked about this in the NFL Best Bets video when we had a bet for this game. Jaguars are terrible versus wide receivers. 29th in receiving yards allowed, 23rd in touchdowns allowed to wide receivers, giving up the 2nd most 50+ yard touchdown or 50+ yard passes and the 4th most 40 or more yard passes. It's just been terrible. So Wilson could score on a big play here. He could score by his targets in the red zone, as Rodgers likes to look his way in the red zone. So I like him to get back on track here and score a touchdown. Love the odds here. Second one, even juicier. Give me Pat Air Fryer, anytime touchdown, +330 on FanDuel. That's just way easier to say. Nobody should have 4 vowels in a row in their name. Let's just be honest here. But anyways, +330 with George Pickens out last week. He is out again. He caught a touchdown and had 3 catches for 74 yards. He has 15 targets in the last 3 weeks. He's becoming a bigger part of this offense, and he has now scored a touchdown in 2 straight weeks. It's not often you get a guy who scores touchdowns, who gets targets, and has +330 as the odds here. So he has 5 total touchdowns this season as well, but with Pickens out, he now has the highest red zone target share on the team. You got to love to see that. Obviously, we need some field goals also, but if they score, This isn't a bad option. At over 3 to 1 for a guy that's this involved. Again, he's not going to be a guy that gets 6, 7, 8 catches really. He's more of a 3, 4, 5 catch kind of guy. But I like this one because it's plus 330. We're getting over 3 to 1. Gotta love it. So give me Mr. Air Fryer 4 TD and then Tyreek Hill. That's right. In my NBA GM voice, he's heating up. He is absolutely heating up. He has been back in this offense finally. We've been riding the Jonnu Smith train, and now it's Tyreek Hill. We usually see him around minus 105, minus 110 odds for a touchdown with Tua earlier this year and last season. But with Hill, he's been. If you haven't watched, Jonnu Smith didn't even get a catch until overtime last week, and Tyreek Hill is starting to take over. He had a 31% target share last week, and in his last 5 games, he has 1 touchdown in 4 of his last 5. 8 red zone targets in the last 5 games. The matchup is excellent. The Houston Texans are 31st, yes, next to last in touchdowns allowed to the wide receivers. They've allowed 19 touchdowns already to wide receivers. It has not been pretty. They're allowing 14 yards per catch to wide receivers as well. I think Tyreek Hill could have a big game here, but I just need a touchdown. So let's climb to the top of the hill with Tyreek and get him to score another touchdown. That's what I got for you. Tyreek Hill, Air Fryer, and Mr. Garrett Wilson. Let's cash all three. That would be absolutely sweet. Again, it's a quarter unit each. So that's my 5 best player props, my 3 anytime touchdowns. And before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. All right, let's crush week 15. Here are the player props. Lamar Jackson under 26.5 pass attempts, minus 120 for a unit. Amon-Ra St. Brown over 66.5 receiving yards, minus 120 for a unit. Isaiah Pacheco over 13.5 rush attempts at minus 115 for 1 unit. And then Josh Allen over 37.5 rush yards for a half unit. And then the Chris Boswell over 1.5 field goals for 1 unit at minus 115. The anytime TDs, a quarter unit each for me. Garrett Wilson at plus 160. Pat Fryermuth, that's right, anytime TD at plus 230. And then Tyreek Hill, anytime TD. I may not have even mentioned his odds when I talked about him, but that is plus 140 on Bet365. That's what we got for you guys. Thank you guys for watching. As always, leave a comment below. Let me know your favorite NFL player props for this weekend. We are due for a huge weekend, so let's make it this one. But thanks again for the support. Be sure to go check out the other NFL video. If you haven't already, hit that like button. I would appreciate it. But that's all I got for you. Hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy some football, and we'll talk to you soon.